What if everything you've been told about self-improvement is actually making your life worse? We've built an entire industry around the belief that we're fundamentally broken, continuously fixing ourselves like broken equipment. However, here's the shocking truth. The basic idea that you need fixing is the only actual problem. Think of an ocean wave abruptly gaining awareness and panicking because it's not rigid like rock, because it continuously transforms form. The wave would try to fix itself, to become more stable. How illogical would that appear? Yet this is exactly the way we humans function daily. The wave is already whole, yet we've brainwashed ourselves into believing we're faulty missions, needing perpetual restoration. We've been handed a backward narrative. You bear problems requiring remedies, features requiring refinement, and if you labor sufficiently and find the appropriate method, you can ultimately repair yourself and evolve into your proper self. This tale is so ingrained in our culture that we hardly interrogate it. We assume our condition as infinite works undergoing improvement. But what if this core belief is wholly upside down? Here's something scandalous. You were never broken, never partial, never a difficulty needing answers. The only thing requiring repair is the belief that you need repairing. Consider the natural world. When you witness a tree, you don't rate its limbs as substandard. The tree is glorious precisely as it exists. It expands and adapts to its conditions, yet doesn't arrange gatherings about self-advancement. We humans have evolved this capability to become our own evaluators and overseers. We gaze in the mirror and observe a restoration case requiring effort. Trees acquire knowledge too, finding which way to extend toward illumination, how to embed roots more deeply. Yet trees don't agonize over insufficient stature. They react naturally to what existence presents. The contrast is trees believe in their essence, while we've been taught to doubt ours. We've been indoctrinated to believe our instincts are suspicious, our reactions likely incorrect. So we construct an internal overseer judging everything we undertake. Am I efficient enough? Am I improving at the proper rate? It's wearying, like maintaining a demanding overseer in your consciousness, ceaselessly considering you deficient. But this supervisor isn't you. It's adopted evaluations, adopted expectations from family, educators, and culture. You've adopted a tribunal, making you feel continuously inadequate. But who is aware of this committee? Who witnesses these evaluations? Something in you witnesses this performance without becoming involved. That presence is your authentic self. You're not the thinking patterns about who you are. You are the awareness in which all this appears like climate conditions across sky. The sky is never harmed by atmospheric conditions. Storms appear and vanish, but the sky continues boundless. Likewise, ideas of insufficiency arrive and depart, yet your essence stays unaffected. You can adapt and mature without the narrative that you're essentially damaged. See small children acquiring walking skills. They stumble perpetually. Do they generate tales about being defective? Certainly not. They get up and continue because walking looks delightful. Learning takes place instinctively, playfully, without self-assessment. There are two paths to change. One supposes you're flawed, like a mechanic fixing a broken engine. The other sees you're already intact, like a gardener believing in organic development. The repairman fights while the gardener partners with existence. Most progression strategies are mechanistic. We treat ourselves like machines needing better programming. However, what if you're more like a garden, having built-in intelligence? When you place confidence in this wisdom, you stop fighting yourself. Instead of forcing yourself into molds, you allow your nature to unfold. When you stop fighting yourself, you free enormous energy for living. Consider how much energy you spend evaluating yourself. Think if that power were available for remaining present. The individual who realizes they're intact directs vitality toward expression and exploration. Here's something surprising. When you discontinue attempting to mend yourself, problems you thought required repair frequently solve themselves. When you end producing self-critique, your clarity crystallizes. Much of what we assume is wrong stems from attempts to repair what was never damaged. You might believe you suffer from an anxiety issue and try techniques to fix it, but this effort creates more anxiety. What if feeling anxious periodically is totally okay? When you discontinue considering anxiety problematic, it often melts away naturally. We've been trained to think we ought to feel specific ways: joyful, assured, serene. Yet emotions are the weather patterns of consciousness, sometimes tumultuous, sometimes calm. This isn't a flaw. This same reality applies to characteristics we regard as defects. Perhaps you're introverted in a society glorifying outgoingness. Instead of repairing these characteristics, acknowledge them as your special offering. Oak trees don't attempt to become pine trees. Rivers don't regret not being mountains. When you receive your nature entirely, something remarkable happens. You stop wasting energy being something you're not. This doesn't imply you never grow, but learning comes from curiosity rather than inadequacy. You learn because growth is fun. Kids don't effort at creativity. They simply imagine naturally and effortlessly. We developed skepticism toward innate intelligence. We've changed our internal life into an enterprise with reviews. However, your true nature remains, waiting for you to recognize you were never flawed from the start. Here's a paradoxical truth. The more you endeavor to improve yourself, the more you validate requiring improvement. Yet when you realize you were never damaged, improvement happens naturally, effortlessly. When you trust your true nature, development unfolds like blossoms blooming magnificently in their own time. This isn't passivity, but trust in the knowledge that makes your heart beat. So here's an invitation. Carry out a test. For a single day, cease trying to improve yourself. Consider that day as an offering to receive. Welcome emotions without adjusting them. Perceive thoughts without judging. Regard yourself like a close companion, with kindness, patience, and humor. You may find you're magnificent precisely as you are. This is the profound truth. You were never incomplete. You're already intact, already complete, already enough. You're not removed from existence. You are existence expressing itself through human form, and life is a festival. We're all waves within the same waters, each one of a kind, each entire, each temporary. When you realize this as lived experience, you can finally relax into being who you are. Your true being is more gorgeous than your imagined perfect self. You don't need to transform into more lifelike because you are life playing at being you. The wave is the sea experiencing itself as a wave. If this message touched something within you, I cordially invite you to subscribe to the channel. Follow for more material that interrogates conventional wisdom about individual growth and self-betterment, and share a comment below with the word whole to show me you're prepared to accept your complete, intact nature exactly as you exist at this instant.